been attempting this parkour challenge for ages and I just can't make this jump. Maybe I should just give up. Will practice make any difference if I don't have natural talent? Can you relate? Maybe with a different ability in a game or even in real life. My kids would just say, skill issue or get good, but it's really hard. If we are just born talented or not, then what's the point of even trying? Hey y'all, I'm the Southern ma'am, but all my friends call me Tasoma. As a college professor, I encounter students all the time who struggle with difficult material. Sometimes they just think they're not naturally smart enough and they give up before they've even really begun. The same thing can happen when we're trying to learn any new skill, whether that's playing an instrument, baking a cake, solving a math problem, or doing those tricky parkour jumps. But is that true? If we're not just born naturally talented, should we abandon our dreams? Of course not. It is possible to actually grow your talent. I just finished reading this book called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle, where he explains some of the research that talent is not just inborn, but that we can grow it by growing myelin in our brain. The best part, we can all do it. Let's break down this idea of growing talent through some visual examples in Minecraft. By the end of the video, you'll know how to work better with your brain to grow your abilities, regardless of any natural skill. At birth, we have more than 100 billion neurons, those gray matter brain cells that conduct electrical impulses. We aren't making a bunch of new neurons as we age, so how do we learn? By making connections. Neurons stretch out and connect to each other to make new pathways. Think about each neuron like a stop along a trail network. On a new trail, the pathway between stops is very simple at first and difficult to traverse. Over time, continued use of the pathway emphasizes its importance, so it is better maintained, widened, paved, which speeds up travel. New shortcuts can also make passage faster. Remember, in the brain, these neurons are passing electrical impulses, so the faster the pathway, the better. So can we go even faster? Turns out the key to speed is in growth, specifically growing myelin. Myelin is a fatty lipid covering made by support cells that can wrap around the neurons and insulate the pathways, making them even faster than before. Imagine turning one of those walking trails into a super speedy minecart track. Myelin can continue wrapping more and more layers around the neuron to increase speeds, just like we could replace regular rails with powered ones. As our myelin layers physically grow, our electrical impulses become faster, and that translates to what we experience as talent or skill. Okay, so we grow myelin, and that grows our talent. How do we purposefully grow myelin? By using deep practice. Deep practice is not just regular old practice. This practice must be intentional, purposely slightly difficult. You need struggle to grow skill. If I want to improve my parkour abilities, I would then practice parkour, of course. However, this practice must be a challenge to be deep practice. If I just practice easy jumps, my brain will get the signal that I'm already a success, and therefore I don't need more myelin. Those neural circuits are good enough. Why waste the resources? We need the mistakes, the struggle, to signal to the neuron that more is required. If I practice just on the edge of my ability, trying jumps that I sometimes miss, my brain recognizes the struggle and wants to help. It helps by wrapping more myelin around those neurons, making the circuits fire faster and improving my skills. Deep practice not only needs to be a struggle, but it needs to be small, tiny chunks of information. The brain needs to focus on exactly where to expend its resources to build the myelin, specific neural pathways, not just everywhere at once. Okay, so we grow myelin and myelin grows talent. If deep practice grows myelin, then what grows deep practice? That's called ignition. Ignition is the fiery motivation that gives us the energy to do the deep practice. We might refer to this ignition as passion. It's not necessarily logical or rational, and the outcome of all our deep practice is uncertain, but somehow we feel compelled to try. We don't always know what match lit the fire initially, but we can fan the flames. We can have a vision of our future selves having acquired those skills. We can see ourselves being a part of that elite group of talented masters. That desire to belong can ignite us, and that can translate into energy for action. If I want X skill later, then I better put all my effort into Y now. Think about Maslow's pyramid from psychology. We have primal, instinctual needs for safety, love, and belonging. If our desire to grow talent can tap into those, it can ignite our motivation in a powerful way. So we have all the pieces of the puzzle. Ignition drives deep practice. Deep practice signals the brain to make more myelin, and more myelin equals more talent. So how do you actually use this information on a practical level? First, how can you intentionally increase your ignition? Try surrounding yourself with visual cues to keep the motivation fires burning. Imagine belonging in the group with that top 10% of your field. Post their photos on your desk or phone lock screen. Watch their videos. Immerse yourself in that world. Words can be powerful auditory cues. Positive language can shift your mindset. Be careful, though, to focus on effort rather than intelligence or natural skill. Repeat positive effort affirmations daily and anytime that negative thoughts threaten to dampen your motivation. Second, how can you purposefully improve your deep practice? Remember that deep practice needs to be small struggles. Take a big telescope overview of the skill you want to gain. Then look at it microscopically. Chunk it up into the tiny, difficult bits and repeat those purposefully, slowing down and fixing mistakes until you can speed up and it becomes second nature. The best news is we can all do this and apply it to any skill to grow our talent. Learning your multiplication tables or advanced calculus? Visualize being a top-notch student and practice those calculations in increasingly difficult increments to grow your math circuits. Learning how to play basketball? See yourself on the court with the pros and practice those free throws over and over again to build faster connections in your motor neurons. Learning a new song on the violin for a recital? Imagine performing with a world-famous orchestra and practice that song one measure at a time to wrap those musical pathways deep in myelin. Don't follow the old adage that practice makes perfect. Remember instead that practice makes myelin, and myelin makes talent. I hope that you have been ignited to practice your chosen skills and to grow your talents. Me, I've never been more motivated to jump at the chance to practice and to see where that takes me. If this video has inspired you, I highly suggest that you read the whole book, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. He goes into a really deep dive on this skill-building, brain-growing process with lots of examples of really accomplished people who have grown their talents. Good Lord willing and the sun still shines, I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you kindly for watching and bless your heart.